Today we're going to plant summer squash. Summer squash is the squash that we eat raw or in its juvenile form like zucchini, versus winter squash, which we eat in its hard shell form like a pumpkin. When we plant our summer squash, in most cases we take into account that they create a bush form, which means a mounding shape, unlike winter squash, which have a running form or a running shape that can run sometimes more than 7 feet, like a very long pumpkin vine. So today's plants are bush-shaped summer squash. I've already planted a few. This is a golden zucchini. Over here, a white scallop. Summer squash can come in the conventional zucchini shape, but in multiple colors like white, green, and yellow, even tending into some oranges. The patty pan squash, white and yellow and green, which we have over here, also makes a really beautiful fall ornamental if you let it go too long and the skin gets too tough to eat, or if the squash get beyond the serving size and harden. When we plant the bush-shaped summer squash, I like to plant them about 24 inches apart. They get quite large, and we've all seen what happens to a zucchini when it gets too big. So we want to make sure we've given this plant enough space. Here we have rows that are about 2.5 feet apart, and we're going to plant 2 feet between each plant. This is a lemon squash. It makes a really interesting diamond-shaped squash. When harvested extra small, it's at its best. We've started with transplants because here in the Pacific Northwest, we can get a jump start on our season by starting these plants inside. So I've started with starts that we originally used seeds to grow. I've covered just to the base of the vine. These yellow leaves here, I get asked this question a lot. What's happening to my squash? The first set of leaves are turning yellow. Those are the cotyledon leaf. They're the first leaf that grows out of the seed. They always turn yellow. They always fall off. So don't worry about that. You're actually doing things correctly. When you start to see the rest of your stem growth and additional leaf set, it's time for that first set of leaves to yellow. You don't need to pick them off. Simply leave them or bury them and wait until you harvest. Now I'm planting a Black Beauty green zucchini, the standard zucchini type. I wanted to mention that you can either plant your summer squash in a raised bed, if that's the space you have available, or in ground if you do have more space to plant. We choose to put ours in the ground because we have the space. And in a raised bed, you're going to need to dedicate at least 2 by 2 feet, if not 2 by 3 feet for your summer squash. So if space conservation is important to you in your raised bed space, particularly for warmer season crops like tomatoes or peppers, eggplants, perhaps your basil, you can always put your winter squash and your summer squash, in this case summer squash, right directly into the ground. And there you have it, summer squash.